What's up, y'all? We are here with another episode of Culture Minute, and we about to bring y'all all the latest news. I am Gentel, Sharrie.
I'm Sarina, Renee, the one-stop shop.
And it's your boy, King Jaquel Martin, actor and director. You feel me?
And we lit. So the first topic that's coming out the gate is with Donald Trump. As you guys know, he did win the GOP nomination against Nikki Haley. After she suspended her campaign, I wondered if there was like a little bit of something going on over there when she suspended it. I know she didn't have like the greatest run, but to suspend it before everything comes out, it was just like, let's just give it to Trump. But Trump also just released that he's going to pardon about 6 people who got arrested for rioting the Capitol, which I think is crazy. I mean, maybe on not Donald Trump's side, but I just think that's crazy. Like, literally, they violated our government and we're getting ready to pardon them.
First and foremost, he didn't say he called them hostages. Let's be clear about that. He called them hostages, though. Like, they committed a crime and you calling them hostages. So my thing is, everybody that's trying to vote for Trump this year, and you were so gung-ho of, he shouldn't, what's the word? Produce the insurrection or whatever it was called. They were so against that. They was like, we were backing Trump for a lot of things in his presidency, but when that happened, we're not pro-Trump, yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, this guy called them hostages. So my question is, are those same people that bashed him for inciting that insurrection, are you still going to be in support of him? Because now he called them the hostages, then you had something against that part? Number one. Number two, as far as the young lady dropping out of the campaign, I do feel like, because she had a lot of stuff going on the back end, and Trump is a petty president, let's keep it very clear, he was going to dig up everything. It could have been that, and it could have been, he slid her some money, because it's a lot of things that I think he slid money for. For example, he's supposed to be in jail right now. I think he slid money to New York. He's supposed to be, go ahead.
Oh, I just think it's crazy how he is the first president to ever have criminal charges, more than multiple criminal charges, and he still could become president of the United States. That shows that literally anything is possible. I'm not saying I'm for Trump or whatever. I'm just saying, like, literally, how is this happening right now?
It's happening because he got connections. You got to think about the connections he had before he was a president. Trump wasn't in politics. You know what I mean? He was in the film industry, number one. And then he also was in real estate. So he tapped in so many industries. So he has so many relationships. I'm pretty sure he got relationships with the Rockefellers, with the Jews and all types. He got a relationship with freaking Putin. Him and Putin are friends. So it's because of the relationships that he has, the money that he has, and people don't want to go against him. And it's very sad because our democracy is about to go down. Like, it is insane. We are the laughing stock of the world. You see, this dude came out with a pair of Snickers and had the audacity. He had the audacity to say that he's going to get a lot of votes because of Black people like sneakers. And I actually got into it with one person at my job because he said that ignorant stuff. He's like, I think that Trump will have a lot of, and he called us blacks, girl. He said, Donald Trump will have a lot of support from the blacks this year. And I was like, what you mean the blacks? I said, do I look black? I said, I am as high yellow as they can come. And he was like, well, I didn't mean it like that. I said, well, why do you feel like that? He said, because you guys like hip hop stuff, so you like the sneakers, and the sneakers are very hip. And then he also said that because President Trump has a record. I said, sir, do you stop? You see how dumb you sound? Do you see how dumb you sound? You think that we're gonna vote for him because of records? That doesn't even make sense. But I digress. Go ahead.
I just find it funny because you got to understand this rule. He who has the goal makes the rules. And he got a lot of bread, so he's going to make up his own rules. And how are you going to get people out of jail when you're supposedly on your way to jail. That's fire. If you can do something like that, you really him. I feel like Donald Trump is really on his soldier boy swag, the first president ever to have charges and still run for president. You know what I mean? I really find it baffling how sometimes we really don't understand our power as a people. Do you not see how people try to cater to us or manipulate based off of what they think we like to use us to get our votes? So when I understand the power of us, we won't let someone be able to tell us, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black. That's bold as hell. Then to say, well, I know Black people like sneakers. That's bold as hell. The way they categorize us or put a narrative around us to say, I can manipulate them by catering to them to get their vote. I think that's something that we need to start thinking about for ourselves as a people, that people think that they can manipulate us because they believe they know us enough for us to vote for them if they say something. Oh, well, I like hip hop. I like chicken and watermelon or whatever it is, the things that you guys like. Because if I say that I like it, then you're going to like me too. So I think we just need to understand our own power and not let someone manipulate us, whoever it is. Because personally, we could talk about the presidents, but we never talk about addressing the body. So it's different faces in the White House that call themselves presidents with the same body of work. How can we change the president, but yet we don't address the House? And then wonder why we face the same issues no matter who's in office. Because personally, I don't really remember the last time people really did something that looked out for us, that changed rules for us. No matter how many faces have really been in there.
Right.
So if it's not the face, then what else could it be? Well, if it's not the face, what's left? The House.
Right.
The House, the courts, the Senate. Even in your own city, are we going to the right meetings to put in our votes to make sure we're putting ourselves in position to even have that power?
Yeah. And it's crazy because I was going to chime in and say, the most important election is the one that's in your hometown. A lot of people don't know. They look at those elections as, oh, it's just something minute. No, it's very important because you're voting in your sheriff, you're voting in your mayor, you're voting in your school superintendent, like people that's over your kids while they're in school. You're voting for a lot of local things, right? And a lot of people don't understand that. And I hate when I see people on the internet, when they see something that Trump said or somebody that's in politics that they don't like, they say, this is the number one quote. Y'all see, this why what happened when y'all don't vote. Y'all need to vote. You don't have to tell somebody y'all need to vote without instructing them on how to vote. You have to realize we are a group of people, right? That didn't have the luxury of knowing about the judicial system, knowing the proper way to vote, knowing what to look for to vote. So I understand Black people are telling other Black people, y'all need to vote, but you need to lead them and tell them exactly how to vote. Don't just say, oh, well, if you know this person name sound familiar, go ahead and vote for them. No, because just because they name sound familiar because you're hearing it on a commercial, don't mean that they align with your character and align with what you think that the things that you need to be successful in your hometown or in America, period. Like their roles probably don't align with what you're looking for. But you wouldn't know that unless you see who's on the ballot, you understand who's on the ballot, and then you go and you research who those people are, what they stand for, and then you go ahead and vote. Because I remember the last election, it was people on there that I didn't know, right? Now, I did do my due diligence, and it was some people that I did my research before I went there, but then it was also people that was on the ballot that I didn't know. So you know what I did? I don't care how long it took me to stand in that little box. I had my cell phone, and you weren't supposed to have it, but I had my cell phone, and I Googled the people that I didn't know.
Allegedly.
I had my cell phone, and I Googled. Like, I didn't want to pick the wrong person.
Yeah, that's though, honestly. Because there are
all of our listeners, so that way on the next episode, Sarina ain't like this.
Right, right.
Allegedly had her phone. You feel me? But hey, you know what would be crazy? What if a black person ran for president and said, "You're not white if you don't cook with mayonnaise. If you don't put raisins in your potato salad, you're not white." What if they did the same thing that white presidents do when they try to cater to us? What if there's a black person that was like, "I
Oh,
love
I
sweet
see
home
what you're
Alabama."
saying. Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of times when white presidents, they come out, well, black people like tennis shoes. Well, you're not black if you don't vote for me. They try to use what they think they know about us to influence us to vote for them. So what if a black president did the opposite and tried to influence or antagonize them about their specific color or
I don't
race?
think
Or
they would let it slide, honestly, if that happens.
You know that's not gonna happen. And first of all, if we was the one that raided the freaking Capitol, we would not be
oh
called
yeah,
hostages. Let's get that very clear. We will be called
yeah.
criminals, goons, all type of
We'd
stuff.
be dead.
We'll be dead.
I know, because the president's granddaughter came out and said if another group of people would have did the exact same act, what would the outcome be? Come on now.
Yeah.
So if there's equality, why would it be two different outcomes if Americans both took over the White House? If it was versus white or versus black, why would it be different outcomes? Why is it that white hostages can take over buildings with guns, but black people can't stand together on the corner with no guns? I mean, it's a huge difference. So let's we got to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest about this because Wendy Williams and her ex-husband, Kevin Hunter, they are back in headlines. You know, they ended their divorce in 2020, and Wendy had to pay him, you know, pay for the divorce, a monthly stipend. And the payment stopped in 2022 when Wendy Williams got her guardianship. But my thing is, Wendy is not in the best condition. Why is she still paying for your livelihood? I'm just really confused. Now, since she dropped this lifetime thing, he probably thinks she got her money back and he want that money. And maybe, you know, it is a legal standpoint, but I just feel like when you're divorced at the end of the day. Like y'all split up, y'all go separate ways. Let the person have their money.
You know, I'm
Don't
gonna
look
stir
at
a
me.
little tea. You know, I'm gonna stir a little tea because females be getting their bag. Women get their bag. They take half. They get their bag. They get their monies during the divorce or during the settlement. They want to, you know. I mean, but this is.
I mean, I get that. Okay, the settlement. Okay, and I think that's where it needs to end. The settlement. I don't think you should continue have to pay. Settle once the divorce is final. But dang, how many years was he on the payroll?
I do think there should be.
24. Damn.
Go ahead, love.
So I will say this, right? When I got divorced, I didn't really get anything. Well, I got $500 a month because this dude cried broke. He's a former NFL player, right? But you cried broke, but yet and still I helped you with multiple businesses. I helped you get your board of directors for your nonprofit. I got you a TV show. I got you all these things, right? But being that I was 20 and I was young and dumb, yes, I'm going to claim that because I should have been a little bit more smarter. This joker told me, I'm not going to put you on payroll because I'm paying all the bills. At that point, as a wife, what am I supposed to do? Do I stop helping my husband build a legacy that he claims for our family? Or do I continue to uplift him, put down my career in the entertainment industry for 5 years? And like, what do I do, right? So go to court. I explained all this. I had my resume. I had everything that I did for him. And you know what they said to me? What? You've been a supportive wife. They said, you're young, you're ambitious. We don't think you're going to have a problem getting back on your feet. So my lawyer was like, well, according to the law, she's entitled to something. They said, well, we'll give you $500 a month for 2 years. That was a slap in the face. So I'm saying all that to say, if he worked and he was on payroll and you go to court and they say, hey, this is what your settlement is, you're done. There's no reason for you to come back because the money that you had, you should have used it wisely. There's no reason for you to come back. Me, I should go back and try to get some more money. But I ain't finna do all that. Cause you claiming broke, nigga, you broke. Well, you just a broke ass nigga out here. Right? So at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, what? I'm just saying, like, people play the game, and I'm just saying people play the game as if, you know, oh, the men not supposed to ask for money and the women supposed to ask for money type situation. I get that. But I feel like if a person works in a relationship and help you build what they help you build and you didn't give them money for the work that they've done to get you on and to do this stuff like that, and you guys get a divorce, yes, you're supposed to take care of that person. But to a certain extent. Now, if that person was on payroll, and like I said, with Whitney Williams' ex-husband or whatever, now that the settlement is over with, you shouldn't be asking for no money.
Well, I don't think it's over it. She just stopped paying. I'm just I need to figure out how long the pay is. It's not over. It's just the payment stopped when Wendy got the guardian. But he's saying Wendy has money, even though Wendy's saying like she has no money.
Oh, I thought you were saying that he got the money and it stopped.
He did. He got the money and up until
once 2022.
But then once you got guardianship in 2022, that's when the money stopped.
So he asked him for the rest of the money that's entitled to him.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, I don't see nothing wrong with that. But I understand what you're saying in the state that she's in, knowing that she don't have the money. Like, dude, have compassion and hold off.
Like, no shade, she might have gotten better. I pray to God she has. But like in the documentary, she can barely function. Like,
right.
That's probably why you didn't get no money, because they're probably trying to get her health together.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's money that was entitled to him in the settlement and he's not getting it right now, like, you should have compassion for that. But if he's entitled to it,
I feel that legally, if he is entitled, I will want my money too. I'm not going to hold you, but maybe in a more quieter way.
Like, you ain't got to blast it. You already see the lady down on her luck now. Come on. So I take some of the stuff back that I said earlier, because I thought it was like he had already got it and then he wanted more. That's what I thought.
You know, you say sometimes guys claim that they're broke so that way they don't have to pay, you know, to hurt the other person because they don't want to do the right thing. I'm not saying that she is doing this, but sometimes people could play a certain role to make things look a certain way so they don't have to pay. And that can go both ways. I'm not saying that she isn't. I don't know her situation. What I am saying, or I'm highlighting an example of, sometimes people do certain things, right, to not have to do what they're supposed to do. I'm not saying whether she's doing that, whether she isn't doing that. I pray for nothing but her health. I pray for nothing but, you know, blessings over her. So don't make it seem as if I'm trying to bash or whatever else. I'm just saying sometimes people will go to the extreme to do certain things, especially over money, especially over love, and especially over when you're in pain. I'm just leaving it.
Okay. I was going to go in on you because I was like, you can clearly see.
I am weak. Well, it's your bestie, Miss Westy. Don't trust me. It's gonna get messy. Yo, Northwest just told the world she's getting ready to release her album called The Elementary School Dropout. She was on stage with her father at a concert. And when I tell you, the crowd went crazy. And it's crazy because, you know, Kanye had, was it high school, college?
College dropout.
College dropout. Yes. So it's like, okay, it's a little spinoff. So I'm excited to see what's going to be on this album. I love to see the stars and their kids grow up in the industry, just like, you know, putting them out there in the healthy way. You know, sometimes it can be toxic with celebrity kids, stars, and, you know, that whole turnout. But I feel like, you know, if you make it healthy and balance it out, it could work. But I thought that was really cool.
First of all, shout out to Ye for even positioning his family to be able to continue that journey. A lot of times as parents, we say we want to pass things down to our children. I'm just happy that as the Black man, he positioned himself to be able to put his daughter even in that situation, period. And to allow her to be in front of that many people at one time while they're cheering, to give them the experience, because when you're able to get those experiences when you're that young, the more you're going to be able to excel when you're older, because you've been used to it for the longest, if it's done the right way. For her to be able to have a freedom to express herself through her music, the only thing that I pray is that it stays at a 10-year-old or however old level that it is. Because, you know, sometimes we'll take kids and then they're no longer kids because the world wants them to grow up so fast. And, you know, they're trying to put on extra makeup or be extra seductive, and it robs them of their childhood. I pray that's not her experience, but I do believe that it is a beautiful thing to see Ye pass this down to her daughter for the generations to come, and be an example to other people. When you handle your business, these are the different things that because everyone has the opportunity to do this, you know what I mean? When you position yourself to be able to continue being a blessing and leaving a legacy with your kids. I think that's what legacy is personally all about for me.
Absolutely. One thing I love about this project is controversial.
Controversial.
But also it shows the brilliance of Kanye. So he had college dropout, and you have your daughter that's doing elementary dropout. Now, a lot of people are saying that she shouldn't have an album called Elementary Dropout because it's going to motivate kids to not finish school. But kids are not even thinking like adults are thinking. To me, I just think it's a spinoff of what Kanye has already done. One thing I do love about Little Northie is she's her own person in her own right. You know, she's not out here trying to be a celebrity kid. She really wants to be a normal kid, and everything that I have saw her do, whether it was on TikTok, on my feed, if they just pop up or, you know, whatever, is that she's genuinely doing things that a kid her age normally do. We used to play dress up, you know, like a lot of people, because she was she had like a video that I saw. She had like 4 different wigs, and people are like, because they were lace front wigs, but she was playing dress up. So it was grown adults like, she's too grown and this and the third. I'm like, did you not play dress up when you were her age?
Because we did.
We used to put on makeup. We used to put on, I remember when I was in elementary school and I put on my mama heels, shoes bigger than my foot, but at the same time, I'm walking around, you know, just, you know, prancing around, because that's something that I like to do. I know I can't go out the house like that, you know, but it's just fun to do. So I just feel like whatever Kanye and Kim is doing in the social media world, or whatever issues they have, one thing that I do love is the fact that they have a normal child trying to be normal. And she's not about, you know, even with the paparazzi. She ain't with the paparazzi. She's like, if y'all don't get out my face, right? You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like she's okay. Did y'all see the one? What is the son's name?
You're talking about it's not Psalm, but Saint. And he flicked them off.
He flicked them off. And I was like, when I seen him do that, I said, you know what? North probably told him to do that.
But they really be like, paparazzi, get out of my face.
Right, because they really want to be normal kids. And I love that for her. I love that for her. And I look forward to see what happens in the future. And like King said, long as she stay with the right mindset, she'll be okay. And I think Kanye will guide her the right way in reference to that.
And then I think it's genius that she put, you know, Kanye had college dropout and she has elementary dropout. I think it's genius just as well, because school is a system. And there's 2 different types of schools. There's one school that teaches you how to go work for someone and become a slave. There's another school system that teaches you how to actually run businesses or run the plantation. So there are a lot of people now are investing in homeschool, because sometimes school will prevent you from telling you the whole truth. They will give you the parts that they want you to understand. Like, why is it in school there's no financial literacy? But when you become an adult, that's something that you're going to need. Why is there not real African American history? They only tell you about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and our history runs so much deeper than that. They only give you a piece. You know why? Because why would I teach you the truth? Because if you knew the truth, you know better, you do better. So as long as I can indoctrinate you into this system a certain way to keep you from seeing what's on the other side of the veil, I can always keep you oppressed. So I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? It's saying elementary dropout, college dropout, or whatever else, because sometimes you gotta, if you want something new, you have to stop doing what you're used to.
Right. You got to break the monopoly of the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree with you because, like you said, like they don't teach our rich history, like the truth. We have to hear stuff word of mouth from our grandparents and, you know, forefathers and things like that. And the information is passed down the line. So when we talk about it, other people that don't look like us, like, oh, that's a lie. Why is it a lie? Because it's not in the history books, and the stuff that was in the history books, y'all taking it out. Like you're making it a law. Like our history is so powerful. You understand? Our history is so powerful that you have to make a law to take it out.
Yeah. They're changing the school books right now, saying that slaves were minimum wage workers. You know, that's why I was so upset. And I didn't understand why we celebrated when they were tearing down monuments. And the reason why I say that is because if there's no monument 20 years from now, who's to say what actually happened? The monument actually showed the truth of what they actually really did. But we were so excited about it, people outside in the street twerking. And I'm like, y'all don't get it? Y'all don't see the game? When I remove this from you, you will never know what was. And that's why it's called history, because I removed it and I will tell a new story, which will become the truth. Because when we talk about slavery and things right now, kids are so far removed from it, they don't know what's what. And then when you make new films, let me tell you about Hollywood real quick. I just want to break this down real quick. If I want to make a film and it's my truth, if I take the money, I can no longer tell the truth the way I want to tell the truth. They're going to say, you need to take this out. You need to make this person lighter. You need to do this. They're going to change the film and say, hey, do you still want to make your movie? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we start to believe that these movies are true. So when they are whitewashed and our kids who don't no longer know the past or know their history, when they see movies about us, they actually believe that it's true because there's nothing else for them to reference of what it really was like. And so that's why we have to be careful with, you know, the indoctrination or the program. Sometimes you have to unlearn what you learn so that way you can be free. But a lot of us is prisoners. We're living in the evolution of slavery. And I say that because you might not see a chain on your arms or your hands, but now you're a mental slave because you just don't know. And I program you to be that way. And until why would I unprogram you if I want you to be my slave? I'm not going to tell you the truth. I'm going to withhold the information. It's your job to figure out what's going on in the matrix. And if you choose not to, then I got your life. And it's no one else's fault but your laziness.
Yeah. That's true.
Well,
and it's, can I say this one thing before we move on? So to your point to the Hollywood thing, I don't know if you guys remember the show Underground.
Yes, and they took it off.
They took it off because they said that it was so accurate that it was causing trouble with the colonizers. They didn't like it.
Because the Underground was a great show. I was like literally appalled when they took it off air. I mean, I figured the reason why, but I mean, it was a good show. Like the acting was superb. You really felt like you was in that time.
Yeah.
Shout out to the big bro, Nate Parker. They banned Birth of a Nation. They banned it. They started saying the tickets were sold out. They started changing the temperature to make people uncomfortable so they wouldn't stay in the theater. They tried to bring up something from his past that he was found out guilty about, so they would influence people not to see it because people don't want you to know the truth.
Is that the one with Nate Turner, right?
Yeah, Nate Parker. About Nat Turner. The movie about Nate Parker is the director. It's the movie about, it's the Nat Turner story.
Yeah, and then they used his skin to make oil. It's so crazy. Oh my gosh, I remember that movie. Like I was horrified when that part came on. I had a lambskin rug. The next day, I took that rug back to the stove. Because I was just like, just how because the only reason why is because it was just so surreal how they took the man's body and they used his skin to make leather. They used it to make it was just insane. Huh?
Oh no, I was agreeing with
you. Yeah, and it was just, I don't know, that the rug just did something to me. And every time I looked at it, I was like, oh heck no, I gotta take this back. But I'm saying that to say, like, the impact of that movie was so strong and I felt it so much that it was just like, it affected my reality. And I saw a lot of things differently.
It resonated something in your spirit. Let's just say, let's go, since we have young people that watch our show, let's just say Wakanda. You know what I mean? The power of the Black Panther has been stripped away, right? So when you understand who you are, you have a different type of power. You walk differently when you know who you are. But when they strip it away, you do not know who you are. You don't know your truth. And when you don't know your truth, you can be manipulated. And Wakanda can be attacked when it's vulnerable. So when your mind is vulnerable, I can attack you through music, through song, through school systems, through programming, through all these different things, because I don't want you to know. And you know why? Because I'm afraid that you're going to want revenge. But all we want is peace. We don't even want revenge.
That's really all we want. But you know, the world
After all these years, we don't even want revenge. We just want equality. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, we'll leave it there, y'all. We're going to take a quick little break to give a shout to our proud sponsors, 24/7 Live Culture. Hey y'all, we are back with Culture Minute. You know, the topics, they was good in the first half. You know, we about to come in the second half swinging. But before we do, we want to touch base on elementary school dropout. King got some words to say, y'all.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to give an example of programming, right? So that way y'all be hip to what we talk about. Y'all know the alphabet, right? Cool, 26 letters in the alphabet. They taught you your vowels, right? Gentel, what are your vowels?
Talking about A-E-I-O-U?
And?
Sometimes Y.
Okay. That's a program.
Yes.
They programmed you, and you don't even know it. You said your vowels was A-E-I-O-U and sometimes Y. Why is it and sometimes Y? Shouldn't you always want to know why? But they programmed you to only ask why sometimes. Okay, let me slow it down because we say things so fast. Sarina, hey, I owe you, and you don't even know why.
Wow.
Okay, King.
Hey, I owe you, and you don't even know why, because you only ask why sometimes. So when you don't ask why, you're only doing you're an Autobot on autopilot, and you don't even know why you're doing what you're doing. You're just doing it because you're following someone else's program because you don't have enough understanding for yourself to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. Or someone tricks you out of your why, so you don't want to ask why because you feel like you might get in trouble. It might be an issue. Or you might have to sometimes you might get the answer that you want, but when you get the answer, that means you have to do something about it because you're accountable for what you know. That means you have to put in work, you have to change. And a lot of people would rather be lazy.
Programming.
I can honestly say, and we got to go on to the next one. I am a proud person who is not programmed because I would ask why. I would drill it down into the ground until I understand what you're trying to say. You understand?
No, Sarina really would though. Like,
I tell you,
she gonna ask why all the time.
That's a beautiful thing. So hey,
you gotta know though, and especially nowadays, like you gotta ask questions for sure.
Yeah, be proud of your why. Your why is even how you get to the next level of what you want in your life. Oh, I want to be an actor. Why?
Right.
Oh, I want to do this. Why? Because on the days you want to quit, your reason why is what keeps you. Okay, my fault.
No, you're right. You're right. You preaching
You're
shit.
giving
You
y'all too much. You're giving y'all a little much. Y'all come out.
The why is about to go hand in hand with this next topic, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Go ahead, go out. I feel talk, Gentel.
So look, Bishop Whitehead, you guys may have heard of him. He was the pastor that was very flashy, wearing like the different designer brands, all this kind of stuff, was causing all this uproar on social media. Well, he finally faced his judgment day because he got convicted. He was guilty. He scammed an elderly woman out of $90,000 of retirement savings. He said he was going to help her find a home. Instead, he helped find himself things such as luxury items and everything of that sort. I just think it's crazy because you go to church and you're thinking you're praising the Lord. You're thinking your bishop is the person you can trust, you can talk to, you can, really confide in when it comes to life and Jesus Christ and stuff like that. But you go to church and now you're without $90,000. There's no telling who else he scammed.
Well, let me say something.
They need to ask why.
Huh?
I said they should have asked a lot of whys.
Absolutely. Why you asking for $20,000 for a building fund that we ain't never seen in 2 years?
Wow.
You feel me? But let me say what I was about to say. First of all, I don't trust pastors that do nursery rhymes in the pulpit to make a point. I don't trust pastors that have a little beady eye when they be talking. Little eyes be all squinching and carrying on. I don't trust a pastor that always has something to say about their congregation, because more than likely you're doing a lot of stuff behind closed doors, buddy, and probably have a whole family on the other side of the world. I don't trust the pastor. I don't trust a pastor that you got a Rolls Royce, a Bentley, you got 3 houses, you got this, that, and the third, but your congregation is in poverty and you don't have a program to show them how to get out of that. I have an issue with that. You understand? And I have an issue personally because not only was I married to an NFL player, I was also married to an evangelist. Yes, he was an evangelist as well. So I know very well how the pastoral circle work. And I don't give a slap on the wrist for the church at all. And I never give them excuses, because a lot of times, a lot of those pastors, they get in the pulpit and what they do is they control people with the word. Mm-hmm. You understand? They say, oh, well, will a man rob God? Yes, he'll rob God because you're robbing him right now. What you mean? Like, you're using that scripture and you're trying to get more tithe out of people. And you know what? When I was 18, turning 19, I grew up in the church, right? And I love the pastor that I sat under. And a lot of people probably come for me for this, but I'm going to be 100% transparent.
No, right? 100.
I'm going to be, and that's what I always do. So I know a lot of people, gonna come after me for this, and God rest his soul or whatever. And I love the pastor because he gave me the foundation of what I needed, right, to be successful in my spirituality. But one thing that I noticed, every time around tax season, they be like, oh, God's telling me that there's somebody out there that can pay $2,000. Come get in this line. Around tax season, dog, I peeped that at an early age. You ain't do that none of the year, all year. But when tax season comes, you saying, well, God is putting it on my heart because people got that money.
Right.
And you know that what they're going to do is they're going to obey the man of God and give you that. Now, where the money went, I don't know, but I will say that we did have a lot of programs for the kids. We had a lot of programs for people that was looking to build houses and stuff. So we did have that type of stuff, but I just didn't like what I peeped. Like, come on now. Come on now. And then I remember one time I was at another church when I was married in Tampa. And this whole pastoral circle situation, they had a father's done. They're gonna come after me for this, but I don't give a damn. But anyways, so it was a thing called the Fathers and Sons. No,
we listened.
Oh, it was called the Fathers and Sons Gathering or whatever. So you get all the evangelists, the pastors from the other church that's under the covering of this particular church, right? And if I tell you who this church is under the covering of, which is Pastor Dollar,
Craft.
But that's a whole nother story. I ain't gonna get into that. But anyways, so we had the little congregation thing or whatever, and all of a sudden, one of the pastors gonna stand his little fat butt up there next to the pastor of the church and was like, well, this is my father in the gospel. And it's a shame that now one of y'all came up here and put money in his hand. So I'm looking around, I'm sitting on the front row, y'all. I'm looking at this man, the pastor.
That's terrible.
Receiving money from people. I mean, his pockets were so freaking fat, dog. And my ex-husband was like, my ex-husband was like, look, my ex-husband was like, yeah, we're gonna give him $50. I said, we ain't gonna give him no $50. We ain't doing that. And I looked that man dead in his eyes, and he looked dead embarrassed because at the end of the day, you know what you're doing, dog. And you probably told that man to say that. That's why I don't give a pass for no churches. And it's starting to piss me off, so I'm gonna go ahead.
Okay. A little bit of tea. First of all, that's not a church. So I don't know why we call the building a church if you actually read your Bible. You are actually the church. That is actually a sanctuary. If you read the Bible, Jesus was tearing up sanctuaries because he said, this is not a representation of me.
Yes.
Okay, go to Genesis. Open your Bible to Genesis. We don't talk about Adam and Eve because they had children called Cain and Abel. Both of them gave. One was accepted. The other one wasn't. Why is that? Because one gave cheerfully and another one gave because he was forced to give. So why is it in church when pastors give out offerings or whatever else, they'd be like, oh, I feel the spirit coming on, saying that we can get $10,000 more. But if I already gave cheerfully, if I give more, then I'm technically not giving what I wanted to give in the first place. So now what I'm giving, according to the Bible, it wouldn't be blessed anyway, because now I'm giving the same way Cain gave, because someone had to beg me to do it. But the Bible says, I love a cheerful giver. We got to make it make sense. Then they started getting slick. They started putting ATMs in churches to make sure that you could go ahead and give your money in church. Then they started asking for your pay stubs to make sure that you're giving your 10%. How can someone give something that you want to give when you're supposed to give it cheerfully? We're not even going to talk about how churches and the government have a relationship and the different write-offs that come up with the government when it comes to the church, because governments do control churches because there's certain regulations and rules that they have to abide by. But then it comes down to you. Because if we're going to go back to the Bible, it says nobody can get you into heaven but you. So why do you praise a pastor when he can't get you into heaven? Only you can. Only he can talk about the word, the same word you can read for yourself. I'm not saying that you can't have a pastor, but I'm not saying that you can't learn from yourself. And this says where 2 or 3 of them are together. Okay, I might be doing too much. I might be dropping too many gems. I'm just saying, don't you got the same connection to God, the same connection that he got? Can't you do the same prayers that he can pray for you about? So why do you have to go through a third party to get a prayer to be blessed for yourself when you have the same relationship? If you believe the way you say you believe, why do you need someone else to do it for you?
Right.
Can't you work for yourself? All I'm saying is we have to stop letting people trick us out of who we are. I'm not saying that you can't pay your tithes and offering. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you do want to give, you should give because it's on your heart. Because if you're not giving from your heart, it ain't accepted anyway. It's falling on dead ears anyway. Stop letting people trick you with the building fund. Stop letting pastors get rich off of you while you are struggling and you got to rob Peter to pay Paul so you can pay your bills at home. You got to make it make sense. And I'm so happy that this happened to the young lady, because now it has national attention so we can be more aware. Somebody had to be the sacrifice for everyone else to be able to pay attention to the snakes in the garden. Everybody that preaching ain't really a preacher.
No, facts.
Let me tell you what just happened, right? this is how I know that this topic is so on point. Because sometimes the devil
got cut
tried to
off.
distract. I did. That thing said my phone temperature was hot.
It's hot, all right.
My phone temperature was hot because
we vibrating on this frequency, and somebody got to try to break it up to disturb it for the moment to be taken away. So that way, saying what I was saying, we got short attention spans. Oh, she dropped out. So now when she dropped out, you missed out on what was being said. But it's okay. You feel me?
Yeah.
It has to happen. So the antagonist has to happen. That's life. Have you ever noticed when you're doing good, a whole bunch of curveballs come your way? Have you ever noticed you want to change your life? All of a sudden, everybody from your past, oh, you think you all of that now. I remember when you used to do this. You ain't going. It's part of the process. It has to happen. Someone has to challenge you to see how bad you want what you say you want. Okay, you don't believe me? I'm gonna do an experiment with you right now. There's a scientist that did an experiment, and they took an aquarium and they put a fish in it, and they put little Nemo and they put a piranha in it. And when the piranha saw Nemo, he ate him over and over again, right? So then they came back and they put a glass cylinder in between the piranha and Nemo. So when the piranha saw Nemo, guess what he did? He kept hitting his head on the glass cylinder, and then eventually he stopped, right? So then what he did was he came back and they removed the glass cylinder. So when the piranha saw Nemo, guess what he did? Swim around it. Mm-hmm. And then eventually the piranha died. Well, you think I'm talking about a piranha and Nemo, but I'm actually talking about you versus your dreams.
Yep.
Every time a hater comes your way, he's blocking you from where you say you want. But see, the glass cylinder wasn't meant to keep you out. It's there to see how bad you want what you say you want. And when you're hitting your head on the wall, it's your opportunities to build the muscle to handle the blessing that's on the other side, because different levels come with different devils. Okay, Sarina, get off this microphone.
Yep. And it's crazy. It's crazy because, I was going to chime in with what you were saying before I got cut off. And I always tell people, because I had got kicked out of a Christian group on Facebook because they were on there judging people, right? And they were like, oh, if you fornicate, you going to hell and all this, like old biblical stuff, right? So I was just like, so you mean to tell me if Jesus was on this earth right now and he comes into your church, that he ain't gonna flip the tables? That it's not gonna be a pastor that's sleeping around with some of the choir members? Some of your choir members ain't sleeping around with each other. Somebody ain't stealing the money. Somebody ain't stealing the money that's supposed to be for your tithe and things like that. They kick me out. You kick me out because you don't like the truth. And I do feel like, just like you said, we are the church. We don't need to go to no four walls to have a relationship with God. We go to church to fellowship, but when you go to these churches now, it's more about cliques, it's more about hierarchy, and it's more about who you know and the connections so you can bring in money to the church. And that's the part I don't like. I don't like that. Right. It's a sanctuary. Yeah. Right. So at the end of the day, I feel like, and this is me going off topic, because I did a podcast with two girls that I went to church with, and we talked about this topic before. I feel like when Jesus split them tables open, I feel like he cussed them out. You can't tell me Jesus ain't cussed them out. He went into the temple, saw that y'all was gambling, saw that y'all was selling, products and services to gain in the name of the Lord, but you're doing it the wrong way, And then a lot of times these people in high-ranking churches, they feel like things are not going to catch up on them. And as you can see, you keep playing with God, he's going to embarrass you.
Bishop Whitehead.
Yeah, right. You keep playing with God, he's going to embarrass you in front of millions of people.
Right. Don't play with God.
This is exactly why I never wanted to become a preacher. It's not the fact that I'm not good with words. You can see I'm very good with words. It's the fact that I would never want to manipulate someone else and take advantage of them. It's the fact that because you don't have to believe in God, whatever you want to call it. Just for me, I call it God. I believe in God, right? And if I really believe in God, I got enough sin on me already. What I'm not going to do is use your name to misrepresent you and then ask to come in your house when I leave. And let's say we all together, right? Let's say we dating or whatever else. And manipulate you, screw you over, allow your name, throw you under the bus, and then say, hey, Can I come in your house? Can I come chill?
Mm-hmm.
Can this be my heaven? What are you gonna tell me? No, hell no. You know why? Because I didn't represent or appreciate it. So for me, I want to do the best of my abilities. Not saying I don't fall short, we fall down, but we get up. But I want to do the best of my abilities to represent it. And I can speak about God without being inside the sanctuary. This is church right now.
Right.
Come on, y'all. We wait for this. It's 2024. We got AI and all the other different type of stuff. Stop being so damn lazy.
Right.
And start actually using the ultimate AI. Because what created the AI? We did. This did. Come on.
Yeah. Well, we're about to get into another segment, and this is one of our favorite segments of each show, I would say, the relationship segment. So this one today is decoding love through connections versus unhealthy attachments in relationships.
Lord knows I've been through that.
Yeah. So, I guess it's just kind of like, do people really stay for the true connections, or do people stay for the unhealthy attachments of needing, somebody? Because sometimes people stay in relationships because of providing instances, or some people really want to be in love.
Well, I did.
You take the lead, G.
All right. When I grew up, I didn't know what a healthy relationship was. I saw my aunt and uncle, they were my first example of love. But outside of that, I didn't know what love was because I never knew my father. So I grew up in a house where my father was being bashed. And all I knew was I didn't want to be like that. And sometimes when you say you don't want to be like something, you become it because you're trying to fight so hard not to be it. Oh, I want to break the generational curse. And you become the curse because you're so busy trying to break something that it's not your responsibility anyway. Your responsibility is to be the best version of you. So I grew up in this toxicity, but I was a hopeless romantic. So when I was in love, I would try to love from a toxic perspective, but I thought it was love because that's what I saw at home. So when I was outside, I reflected what was inside, right? And if I didn't know how to love me, how could I technically really love you? Even though I was a good dude, I wouldn't have cheated, none of that. Arguing, yelling, screaming, cussing became normal, but that's not healthy. So when I finally got into a healthy relationship, I didn't know what to do with a healthy relationship because it was something unfamiliar. And I had to question myself or question the person that I was with, like, yo, what's wrong with you? You don't argue? You ain't doing this? You ain't doing that? And I had to realize that it was me because it was my comfort zone of yelling, arguing, fussing, cussing, and going back and forth. That was the comfort zone of where my love existed. Not saying that my love wasn't good, my love wasn't real, but it existed in a pool of toxicity. So when I wasn't in this pool of toxicity, I really didn't know me. And the reason why was because I didn't know how to I didn't know how to be healthy. God, Lord, I messed up the word. I have a healthy, loving relationship because I never seen it. So I had to go put in the work. And so before I could be healthy in love with someone else, I had to be healthy in love with me. Because in my last toxic relationship, my mom was like, yo, when did you stop loving you? You fell in love with the person so much that you stopped working on you. That person grew, you stayed stagnant, and then you wonder why you guys weren't incompatible. Sometimes you can love the person or you can love the word relationship that you forget about filling your own cup. Sometimes your cup can exist in toxicity. So now when you're meeting someone else new, the slogan hurt people is real because now you're bringing all your hurtful baggage into something new with this person has never done nothing to you. But if they remind you slightly of what was, then you let your old triggers become new problems. That's why it's important to heal. So now when I see healthiness in a relationship or in a relationship that I have, it's freaking amazing. It's amazing to be able to talk about. I'm not talking about the highlight reel because anybody can be what you do in the highlight reel, but it's amazing to have healthy dialogues when you don't see eye to eye and say, well, hey, what triggered that? Well, let's go in your past and where did that start? Okay. Or instead of blaming the person, because we blame each other, we pull out the CIA files, but to actually have healthy dialogue, because sometimes when you get in an argument with a person, it has nothing to do with you and has everything to do with their experience. But you have to ask the questions or the why, so that way you can have a better understanding of how to handle that person and not walk on eggshells when you're with that person. So I'm learning love. I'm learning how to be healthier in love. I'm learning myself. And let me give you all a gem. Last gem. Do a SWOT report on yourself. They do a SWOT report in business. A SWOT report in business is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And they do it weekly, monthly, yearly, quarterly, yearly, right? And they do that to see how the company is growing and getting better. Well, my question to you is, when was the last time you evaluated your strengths? When was the last time you was honest about your weaknesses, the things in your blind spot, so it can create new opportunities, so when the threat comes your way, you know how to handle it? And then when you get in a relationship, are you checking in weekly? Hey, babe, did I love you? You know what I'm saying? Was I open? Was I there for you? Is there anything I can do better? Why don't we check in our relationships? So that way we can get a better return on investment, not just in business, but in our life. So that's where I'm at. I'm working on doing more SWOT reports. I'm working on doing more check-ins with the woman that I'm in love with. So that way I can be better, not just for her, but better for myself too.
Yeah. So I can honestly say, like, I have healed, from past trauma, in relationships, whether it was a marriage, business, family. Like, I did the work on myself. So I found myself, having this gigantic wall, and it's crazy because I was very protective of that. And I ended up meeting somebody and I allowed that wall to come all the way down to give them the healthier version of myself. But that healthy version of myself attracted somebody that was toxic. And I didn't understand the toxic, because it's kind of like, well, I'm healed. So surely I thought that I attracted a healed person too. But that just wasn't the case, because over and over again, actions and things that was done, it was like my heart just got shattered. So I really don't have too much to say on the topic, but sometimes
I got
you feel me?
I got you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
You worked on you, is what you said, and you became healthier. And you thought that you would attract another healthy person, right? But someone has to challenge your healthiness. Someone has to challenge.
But I mean, nah, not why we gotta challenge stuff.
Just hear me out. I'm not saying that I'm always right about everything. I'm just saying someone challenged the work, right?
But to what
whatever you want.
So like,
right?
Okay, so I was gonna say, I hear what you're saying about challenging my work, but that challenge that I put in, it makes me not even want to look for love anymore. Like, I'm done. Like, that's how I feel.
But that's the trick right there, sis. That's what I'm saying. That's the manipulation out of it, right? Well, because I did the work, it didn't work out, then you know what? I'm done. And a lot of people fall 3 feet from gold all the time, because when they get to the place of, you know what? I did my best. It's not going to work out. I'm done. Your blessing could be right on the other side of the opposite of that. And sometimes we walk away from the blessing or not getting the blessing because we're so done, or we allowed our emotions to get the best of us. It's okay that you went through that. That doesn't mean you did something wrong. That doesn't mean you did something bad. That doesn't mean you made a mistake. That doesn't mean that the work that you did was in vain. That doesn't mean that. That just means the person that you wanted or whatever else was not worthy of your love. And he actually did you a favor, because now he can make space for the person who is worthy.
Yeah, I just think at the end of the day is like, people just need to stop playing in people's faces, like, because if you're not in it to the capacity I'm in it, and you already know where I stand, don't tell me, don't try to like, play. For instance, Love is Blind. Have you seen Love is Blind?
Yeah.
Okay, are you up to date, King, on this new episode, this new season?
Playing with me. I'm up to date, sis. I'm up to date.
Okay, so good, because I'm glad you're up to date, because I'm like, I really want to
shout out to Jimmy, shout out to Clay, shout out. No. Go ahead.
Y'all stupid.
Shout out to Jimmy for real, because Jimmy did the right thing, but I heard they're back together. I've been seeing them like back together. But
Right.
but Clay and AD. Now, Clay was the prime example, King, of how these guys out here be playing in our faces. Literally, like, if he should have did what Jimmy did, he knew where he was going to say no. So you're telling me when he got face to face with her at the altar, he just changed his mind instantly? Yes, he went through the trauma with his parents and his dad cheating on his mom and stuff, but that doesn't give him an excuse for him to stand up there and look to the crowd and be like, I look like a husband, don't I? No, nigga, you don't, because you literally just said no in front of AD's face after pumping her head up, after trying to get married, doing this whole program saying you're not ready for a relationship, but you know the whole point of these pods is to get married. Okay,
so here's my point. We as people have to pay attention to signs over potential.
Yeah, we do have to pay attention to the signs, but there's so many different signs. If you're
wait. Here's the sign. When she talked about getting married, he said, "I'm not ready."
Then why she said, on the show?
Wait. To see if you're going to find love. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. Just because you get on the show doesn't mean you have to get married. It's to see if you're going to get married, not it's guaranteed a marriage.
Why would you wait? Because you're right about that. Hold on.
So were they not at dinner? And he said, I don't want to get married yet. Why do we have to do it at the deadline of the show? And she said, well, I took the show serious. I want to do the deadline. And if you don't want to do the deadline, she tried to manipulate him by saying, well, I'm gone if you don't marry me at this date. And he said at the show, I don't want to marry you at this date. He told her
that, but there was other couples. That's why only one couple made it out of this whole entire season married. He really could have cut it off. Kenneth cut it off early.
Wait.
Married.
If I want to be with you, but I'm not ready to marry you, isn't that two different things? So is it
you don't have to embarrass me in front of my family and friends on that? And that's the thing.
I said I don't want to get married on this date.
Okay, I told you. He should do what Jimmy did when Jimmy was like.
Let me ask you something, sis. Let me ask you something, right? I just want to ask you a question, Gentel. So we're on the show, and I tell you, hey, Gentel, I don't want to marry you at this date. I don't.
Then
I'm not ready.
That's all.
Wait. I'm not ready. I don't want to do it. Gentel says, well, I took the show serious, right? And I want to get married at this date. If you don't marry me, I'm leaving. Isn't that both people being very clear? Is that me playing in your face when I honestly told you at this date, listen, I want to be with you. I really like you. I want to learn more of you. I'm just not ready to get married yet. I still want to be with you. I still want to learn. I still want to grow. Yes. You have the option, sis, to say, yes, I want to go with you, or no, if you don't, I'm not fucking with you no more.
Right. I have the option, but also you have the option to not embarrass me if you're going to say no, just walk away and be like, I understand you don't want to get married, but there's no point of us walking down this altar because nigga, I'm going to say no. That's all he had to do. Like, yes, look, she might have missed the signs. Okay, she missed the signs, whatever. Sometimes, you know, when you're in love, you miss the signs, whatever. But also, if he knew he was going to say no at the altar, he should have just did what Jimmy did to Chelsea, aka Megan Fox, and said, no, and this is the reason why I'm not marrying you right now. And they're still together.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference with Jimmy.
Friends, the whole entire world. That was really embarrassing.
Here's the difference between Jimmy
leading up to the wedding.
Well, here's the difference between Jimmy and fake Megan Fox versus Clay and AD. Jimmy didn't want to be in a relationship with her, period. I don't want to be with you anymore. I don't want to fuck with you anymore. We're going to do our own thing, and I'm going to fuck with Jess. Jimmy. That's his situation. Clay and AD, I still want to be with you. I don't want to marry you yet. I still want to be with you. I still want to date you. I still want to grow with you. I still want to know you. I still want to see what we can build. I just don't want to get married yet. Is he wrong for saying that he doesn't want to get married yet? But I still want to date you? I still want to grow with you? I still want to be your boyfriend? I'm playing in your face now? I'm telling you that I want to be with you. I'm just not ready to be married at this date.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, King, but all I'm saying is he should just never walk down the aisle if he was going to say no. We understand that's what he said. I'm saying I understand that's what he said.
That's the show, though.
But still, like, that's just, I mean, at least she's getting, like, you know, she's getting a lot of publicity off of this, but I just thought that was very wrong of him. I know it was a show, but
I just hate.
Would you walk down the aisle knowing you're saying no in front of your family, friends, national TV? You're going to say no to this girl who's so in love with you. Like so in love with you, you're going to say no to her in front of everybody. And you could have saved her the respect like Jimmy did with Chelsea. Even though that hurt Chelsea, at least she didn't have to go walk down the aisle. Now, everybody who witnessed that wedding is probably traumatized.
But sis, I still want to be with you. I want to be with you. I don't want to marry you yet.
Know if you're going to marry somebody. Why? If you're coming on the show, the whole show is about marriage. If you're coming on that show and you propose to me and you don't want to get married, but you want to get married, why not? Where the wedding's paid for, it's on national TV. What is stopping you? Because you really don't want to be with them. You still want to live your life.
Listen, being on national TV, the wedding is not going to make the marriage last. It's our relationship between me and you that I want to build so we can have a foundation for it to last. You can have all the TVs in the world.
I get what you're saying, but I just feel like you could say the embarrassment. I get what you're saying, King, but I don't get what you're saying. That's why these men out here being messing it up, because yes, you told me, but you should have never fell through with the whole entire wedding. You should have said we should have not even did it, and you should have just broke up with me, because if you don't want to get married with me, there's not. I don't want to be.
So wait. Let me ask you, this is my question to you, because you just said that if I'm not going to marry you, I should break up with you. So it's all or nothing?
At that point, yes. We just went through this whole little process. It's all or nothing. Or I would give it consideration if we did not walk down the aisle and if you didn't do that whole wedding ceremony, I would give it consideration. We can work on it. But because you embarrassed me in front of my family, in front of my friends, in front of your family, in front of national TV, knowing you were going to say no down that aisle, yes, we are not getting back together. Because I would be scared to even get married, walk down the aisle with you again. Like that's very like saying no at the altar, and you've been waiting as a woman. Sometimes we really do be waiting on the
Hey, don't give me that woman crap, because it's not just a woman getting married. It's two people. It's important to us just as well as it's important to you.
Real quick, King, since you want to.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that was a little biased. That's been a little biased.
I'm just saying, from as a woman, we really, at least for me, I feel like I want to get married to someone. I want to get married to my better half. I want to find that person. So when I finally think I found that person, and you're pumping me up, we're having our bachelor party, you're like, I'm gonna be a good husband. You happy, you got our families here, and then you say no at the altar. Like that's pretty low though. Like I get it. Just stop it before it gets to the wedding. That's all I'm saying. We can work on the relationship. Don't have a date. Like, don't have us at a wedding ceremony in front of that's where you're very vulnerable. We're about to get married. I'm showing you my vows. I'm telling you, I'm going to uplift you, King. I'm going to be your number one supporter. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Like her vows, those were superb, what she said to Clay. She really went into Clay on the vows, and he's like, I'm sorry, Pookie, I can't do this.
I mean, because Clay came in, body. I said, oh, no, this shit ain't happening. It ain't going down. I do think that Clay he told her, but I do think that he could have been a little more adamant just as well. But I think, and this is from my perspective, weddings are just as important to men too, whether y'all believe it or not. You're not the only.
And I agree. Okay.
You're not the only person in the altar. They're just as important to us as well, right? Two, I do believe that Clay could have been more adamant about the situation, you know what I mean, of not wanting and making sure there was more clarity. But the third part is I believe that AD was a little manipulating as well. Because if you don't do it by this time, she gave her ultimatum. Well, if you don't do it by this time, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, if you don't marry me, I'm not talking to you, I'm not this, I don't want to be with you no more.
I don't see a problem with that though. I don't see a problem with that
because if we're getting married, you shouldn't have to try to force nobody to marry you.
But that means that he really don't want to be married to her.
Then hello?
They should have both.
Hello? If you have to force me to marry you, if you have to give me an ultimatum to marry you, then you shouldn't want to marry that person in the first place. Why would you want to force someone to marry you? Why would you want to give someone an ultimatum? You should want that person to want you because he wants you.
That's true.
Ooh, okay, y'all. It got spicy.
It got good, y'all. It got good.
It did. Okay. Now we're gonna go to the Oscars. So we're about to go into the Oscars segment. A lot of people collected the awards that night. We had Davon Joy collecting an Oscar for supporting actress, Emma Stone for leading actress. We had American Fiction, amazing movie with Jeffrey Wright, Erica Alexander, Tracy Ellis Ross, Issa Rae. They won an Oscar for the writing and the screenplay. And just a bunch of people did. It was a great night. Jimmy Kimmel came out and fired some shots at Donald Trump because Donald Trump said he's a terrible host. Jimmy Kimmel read his tweet, whatever he be tweeting from, on stage and fired shots back. And John Cena, he came out naked for the costume design presentation. He had a little piece of paper covering his little but
Did.
Yeah, but entertaining night. It was great to see everybody win and the fashion.
Right. So I want to say for Devon Joy, like, I am so happy for her. I had the pleasure of sitting in one of her segments at the Essence Hollywood House, and it was so impactful. The words that was shared, the wisdom in the room. And one thing that I remember that she said that I took away was, if they didn't need you in a room, you wouldn't be here. And that was impactful to me because, I wasn't going to go to the Essence situation. I was at work. I wasn't dressed. I didn't have no makeup on. And something in my spirit told me I needed to be there. And so for her to say those words, I got there late, but for her to say those words and me to catch those words, and the amount of people and what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of the word I'm looking for, but the level of people that I met, it was just amazing. And it made me feel like I was there for a reason, and I follow my heart and I follow what God wanted me to be at that time, irregardless of the circumstances. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I ain't got nothing to wear, or I ain't got my lashes on. I didn't care. I pulled up how I was, put some glasses on, put some red lip, and it is what it was. You know what I mean? And I'm just super excited for hearing her story and how she broke into Hollywood, breaking the stigma of being a plus size actress and a dark skinned woman, and just a person of her stature, So I want to talk about that. And then the John Cena situation, like, to be honest, me personally, I didn't think that was funny, because I felt like, looking back at, and I know this is not the Oscars, but when Janet Jackson had a malfunction with her wardrobe, it was a whole big thing. Now she's banned from, the Super Bowl. She can't, perform at Super Bowl anymore or whatever. And then you have the slap from Will Smith, and, that's a whole different thing. But you want to put a naked man at the Oscars and think that was funny, and think that, to me, it wasn't funny. It was tasteless. And I just don't see the connection of being the wardrobe. You should have came out there with like a drape over, and then maybe a half of a butt cheek hanging. At least you would have had on something, but you came out there with a card. Like, that was so tasteless to me. What else happened? Oh, and the Jimmy Kimmel, right? Or Jimmy Fallon, which one? Kimmel?
Kimmel. Mm-hmm.
Kimmel. Okay. So I get those two mixed up. But anyway, so that joke that he made about Trump, I couldn't stop laughing. Like, I was like, shots fired, and I can't wait to hear them two go back and forth, because somebody needs to tell Trump exactly how it is and be 100% transparent and have a platform. And one thing I love about what he did, half of that room are Trump supporters, and he didn't give two F's about it. So
yeah,
I thought that was cold-blooded that he was able to stand in his truth regardless to who was around him. He was okay with being in his truth. I love what you said about the Devon Joy, because we pray about the opportunity to be in the room. And then sometimes when we get the opportunity to be in the room, we take it for granted because we're tired, because of this. But that's why we got to go back to the why.
I need to stop you right there. So one thing she said too, she said, don't confuse opportunity with purpose.
Thank you. In your purpose, right? So, and the reason why I say that is because when I first got to Hollywood, right, I was doing security. And I was doing security at Fox and I'm around all these celebrities and all these stars. And I was just like, God, this ain't what we talked about. I don't want nobody to see me as a security guard. I want them to see me as an actor, right? And God was like, shut up. You were just on the ground getting assaulted by the police. And you're in the room with everyone you used to watch. If you only carry yourself like a security guard, that's how they'll treat you. But if you walk in your purpose of who you are, they'll see you. So I wound up going to New York Film Academy. Shout out to my bro, right? To become a director or whatever else, right? And we're at school 7 days a week. All of a sudden, I get a call from my agent, right? Because I had auditioned for Ballers, but I didn't hear nothing about it. It's months later. So they said, hey, we need to talk to you. You available at 3? I said, yeah. They finna let me go, y'all. We all been there. You know what I'm saying? When your manager, agent lets you go or whatever else. So I'm thinking I'm getting that call. They said, have you heard the news? I said, I appreciate everything that you guys done for me. Thank you. I was like, what are you talking about? You booked Ballers. I did what? You booked Ballers. Guess where I booked Ballers at? The same place I was doing security. So the same security guards that I was working with was the same security guards walking me to my trailer. And instead of acting arrogant, sorry about that, instead of acting arrogant, I said, if I can do it, you can do it. And then when I got on Ballers, shout out to The Rock, Chris Lofton, London Brown, Donovan Carter, you know what I'm saying, John David Washington, all the amazing people I got to work with, right? They introduced me to the producer of Ballers, the creator of Ballers, because they found out that I was the soldier that got wrongfully assaulted by the police. I told him I wrote a book. He said, you wrote a book? Go get it. Ran and got the book. Y'all, do you know I did a book signing on set? And the same people I was watching and was praising was the same ones taking my autograph and I was writing thank you to in the book. The reason why I told this story is because just because you are here where you are today, that don't mean that's where you're going to finish. Mm. So you got to show up for the blessing. You got to show up for yourself every single day. And I promise you, if you take baby steps, it will lead to giant strides. And that's why you were in the room. You were purposely in the room. It wasn't just because you was a fly on the wall. No, you are deserving your talents, your aura, your era, everything, your essence, everything that you've been through, from heartbreak, from situations with your family, your friends, your kids, your life, your job, all of that led you to this moment. And that's why you got to enjoy the journey, because while we in our feelings, it's molding us, it's shaping us. So that way we're prepared for the blessing. Because you can't never tell me you've seen a rainbow without rain. I'll wait. Hello. But it has to rain to get to the blessing.
Right.
Church people can't have a testimony without the test. But you got to pass the test to get to your happiness. So don't just celebrate when you win, and celebrate your storms too. Because every storm gets you your blessing. I'm done.
Man. Well, shoot, with that being said, that was another episode of Culture Minute. Hey.
Yes.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Gentel Sharrie.
I'm Sarina Renee.
Yo, and it's your boy, King Jaquel Omar.